Hello everyone. I'm approaching Sebring, Florida, out here on US 27, headed south. Sebring is located 85 miles due south of Orlando in the middle of the state. It is located directly between Sarasota, Florida and Vero Beach, Florida. It's a wonderful place. The nickname of the city is City on the Circle. That's because when George Sebring laid out the town back in 1912, he liked the traffic circle. I'm going to be taking you down there to it so you can see the circle and discover some more secrets of Sebring. On the way to the circle, we're passing by from some nice homes on Veterans Parkway. In Sebring, the average home value in Sebring is $158,029. Pretty good average. The median age here is 42. Back in 2000, 9,667 people called Sebring home. In 2022, there were 11,379 people here in town, but there's more people living in the immediate vicinity. There are 105,618 people who live in the vicinity of Sebring. That is, not in the city limits. The ratio of males to females here is pretty good in favor of the males. For every 100 females in town, there are 91.7 males. The racial makeup of Sebring is 55% white, 16.6% black, and the rest is a mixture. I'm going to turn right here and head down to Lake Jackson, the big lake. But if you notice over on the left, that large building is a brand new Budweiser distributor and his warehouse. They have big events over there. Like not long ago, they had the state cornhole championship. Now we're approaching the big Lake Jackson. Lake Jackson is 3,212 acres in size. At its steepest point, it's 25 feet. That gives lots of space for waterfront housing. The poverty rate here is 27%. It's fairly high. Crime index is 5, meaning it's a relatively safe place. As we drive along here, we're on Lakeshore Boulevard. On the right are lakefront homes, and on the left are homes that aren't so lucky. They don't have water frontage. Wherever you go, the waterfront property is always more of a premium than the off the waterfront. Even though these houses over here on the left side of the road, which are not lakefront, are generally nice homes. Again, Sebring was founded in 1912 by none other than George Sebring. He was a rich pottery manufacturer from Ohio. He came down here and I guess he liked Lake Jackson and said, I'm going to establish a town here. On the right, you now see some of these larger, more expensive lakefront homes. These homes along here help jack up the average cost of homes. As we go down to the circle where the city is located, I'd like to tell you about another attraction here in Sebring. That is the Sebring International Raceway. You've probably heard about it. That raceway, which is located outside of Sebring at an old Air Force base, is very popular. Check this out. Sebring International Raceway is home of the legendary Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring, as well as a year-round on-track list of activities including car clubs, performance driving schools, manufacturers testing, and international races. Sebring is one of the country's most active racing facilities, attracting more than 175 individual events on nearly 300 days a year. It is estimated that more than 300,000 fans, drivers, engineers, crew members, and racing families attend events annually at the Sebring International Raceway. I'll continue with that later. Right now, I want to show you some of the houses that aren't on the lakefront. Again, on the right side of this road is lakefront, left side's off the lake. Now I'm going to go into a neighborhood of fairly nice but modest homes. The one thing you notice about these homes is that even though they're not million-dollar homes, the homeowners do a good job of keeping them up, mowing the grass, cutting the weeds. Here's some more of these nice, modest homes in Sebring, Florida. As you drive through these neighborhoods, most of the homes are fairly small, modestly small. Every once in a while you run into a big one. Here's another small one. More small ones. Now I'm going to take you down to one of the larger homes in this neighborhood. It's beautiful in style and shape. And here it is. Nice white picket fence, nice landscaping, and a house that would be suitable for a movie set. It's a very nice home in this neighborhood. It's about 2 blocks away from the waterfront. Here's another home built in the 1920 style, which you see a lot of in Sebring. Now we're going to head back down to the circle where the city is located. There you see another 20 styles home. Going to drive through this residential area and show you another very nice home. Here you have a nice, modest home, and then suddenly you have this beautiful 2-story Georgian type home. It is very nice. Has 2 Italian cypress in the front. Now we're going to look at some more homes around here. Most of the homes in this neighborhood are a little modest, but they're all very well kept. You very seldom see one that's not well kept. Here's one on the right that the owner painted it in a beautiful color. Sits it out in the neighborhood. I'm going to circle back in here and show you some more of these typical homes in Sebring, Florida. While we're driving along, something else about the Speedway. The raceway began its life in 1941 as a World War II B-17 combat crew training base known as Hendricks Field. After the war, the military turned the facility over to the city of Sebring. In 1950, it hosted its first race, and on March the 15th, 1952, the first 12-hour race was held. Have a few more secrets about that track I will be sharing with you shortly after I show you a few more of the beautiful homes in Sebring. Here we are back on Lakeview Drive. Houses on the left side are lakefront. Houses on the right side are non-lakefront. Now I'm going to go down one of these little short streets that stops at the lakefront. They have room for just 2 or 3 houses, maybe 4 on either side of the street that leads straight to the lake. And that is Lake Jackson. All 3,212 acres of it. These are lakefront backyards for the fortunate ones who live on the lake. Now, let's head toward central Sebring. Looking for the circle. We're beginning to get into the commercial region of Sebring. Let's take a left here, up here, and go look at the circle. Circle is surrounded by quaint old period buildings that have been well maintained over the years. Later on, I'm going to take you by the home of Mr. Sebring, where he actually lived. By the way, Mr. Sebring moved down to Sebring, Florida from Sebring, Ohio, where he lived. Apparently, he liked to name towns after himself. Here we are heading to the circle. On the right, you'll see one of the period buildings that is still well maintained. And there's the circle. A nice little park right in the middle of town. Circles on the left and the period historic buildings are on the right. There's a wide assortment of businesses that occupy these stores along the circle. Ahead, you'll see a building that used to be a bank that is now a coffee shop. There's more buildings on the right. That one there was just recently rehabbed. More commercial buildings on the left. Looks like they're getting ready for parades because there's chairs out there. Now we'll go in and take a look at some of the utility areas of Sebring. The building on the left is part of the school system. Come here a minute, I need you to identify a church for me. As you drive around town, you'll notice there are lots of churches here in Sebring.
Where's the church?
On the right, you'll see a large church with a distinctive looking steeple. That was the First Baptist Church. And then, right across the street, we have another imposing church. That is the First Methodist Church of Sebring. There are lots of churches in Sebring. Let's take a look at some more residential areas in town. Here's another church on the left. Again, there are lots of churches in Sebring. Getting back to the Sebring Speedway. The Speedway is 3.74 miles long and has 17 turns. It is the second largest major road course in North America. And now we're going to go and visit an area that really you don't want to be near or in. They recently built a brand new jail in Highlands County that is located right here in Sebring. Maybe the crime rate's higher than we think. They do have a nice jail. Now, let's go down and check out the fire station. I always like to look at the fire stations in every town I visit. Sebring has a nice one. Nice building and nice equipment. The people of Sebring are relatively safe from fires. And now, let's go back and take a look at George Sebring's home. Here we are, back on Lakeview Drive, speeding up because I want to show you this home. It's very nice. Mr. Sebring's home is coming up a nice lakefront facility. Going to slow up a little bit so you can get a good view of it. This home was built back in the 1920s. And here it is. The home of Mr. George Sebring. Still there, and some of his family still maintain the home, and some of them live there. He has a little privacy wall, which you would expect of this home. Now we're going to head around the lake some more before we go. Before we go, I do want to share with you some more secrets about Sebring and the Sebring International Speedway. Did you know that many famous people have attended and competed at the raceway? Here are a few. Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, Jackie Cooper, Dick Smothers, Gene Hackman, Lorenzo Lamas, James Brolin, and David Carradine. They've all raced in the 12-hour classic. Some of the old-timers once told me that they could find people like Paul Newman and Steve McQueen just eating in a local cafe. They were just like regular people. Other notables who have raced there are Walter Cronkite, astronaut Pete Conrad, Frank Beard, the ZZ Top drummer, and pro football quarterback Dan Pastorini. Some of the famous spectators who have been there are Apple founder Steve Jobs, Jim Morrison of The Doors, and none other than the late President Jimmy Carter. Has attended races at Sebring. Here's a home with some beautiful Italian cypress trees. And now, that's the end of our tour of Sebring, where I shared with you secrets about Sebring and the International Speedway. I hope you enjoyed this visit to Sebring. I encourage you to do me a favor. Like this video and please subscribe to my channel. It would make me feel real good, and you would enjoy some of the places that I'm going to tell you about as I travel around the Southeast and other places. So please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.